What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to tell a story of how I almost recently killed another motorcyclist. So, we'll need to lay a lot of background, but it was an interesting scenario and an interesting experience for me personally because it was my first time ever being on the other side of it, where I've been the motorcyclist many times who was perhaps at risk of, getting hit, or people didn't see me or whatever, and it was the car driver in the wrong, or maybe it was even me in the wrong. Maybe I was being a jerk to someone, right? So sort of like turntables kind of situation. It wasn't my fault in this situation, in my opinion, but hey, I'll leave the facts out there, and you can decide if I was in the wrong or whatever. Okay, so here's the details of the story. I'm driving on Route 220 up in Virginia, and if you're unfamiliar with this road, it's a very windy, twisty, tight turn section, kind of like not interstate, but a state highway. So the maximum speed limit it gets to is like 55, maybe 60, maybe 65 occasionally in some places, but you come through many small towns, so you're going 55 for a while, and then you come down and slow down when you get into a small town. And then you've got all these twisty turns. So, right, the speed limit's constantly changing. The, you have to pay attention a lot as you drive. And one of the key features of this road is that a lot of the turning areas do not have, like, turn-off lanes. So, you know how you might be making a right turn or a left turn, and a lane will open up, and you can, like, sort of merge off of the state route or highway you're on, and then you can sort of, like, slow down in a dedicated slowdown lane so you don't back up all of traffic. This road has it in some areas, but a lot of them, like a substantial amount of these turn areas, don't have that, and they don't mark it as like, hey, you can't turn here, right? So people will still turn there. Alright, so that's the background. I'm in a mid-sized truck, right? And I've got a box truck in front of me, and in front of the box truck is another car. And then behind me is a motorcyclist. He's on like a Harley, I think like a Street Glide. It's one of those ones with the big fairings. I'll put a picture of it here. So he's on a big Harley. It weighs a lot of weight. And there's no shade to Harley guys at all. Doesn't matter what bike he's on, really, in this story. But he's just on a heavy bike, right? And so in front of this box truck that's in front of me, this car starts slowing down, and there's no turn lane in front of him. But you can't tell that because there's a box truck in front of you, right? So, because the box truck's completely blocking everything. So, that car starts slowing down. Box truck slams on his brakes, right? And he slows down rather quickly. Like, he must have not been anticipating his turn off or something. So, that car hits his brakes really hard. Box truck slams on their brakes. Not like squealing tires or anything, but like hard on the brakes. So I'm behind the box truck, and I've got a decent amount of room. Like, I've got several car lengths. So I hit the brakes pretty hard because I'm like, I'll try to maintain, the space gap basically between the box truck and me. Like, I'm not gonna just like, close down and tailgate them. I know what's going on. I ride this road a lot. I'm driving for work, right? I'm not speeding. I'm not doing anything crazy. I just want to get to where I'm going, to my job site. The motorcyclist behind me does not slow down like the rest of us are. And so I see in my rearview mirror, the motorcyclist is gaining on me, not braking, like hand not over the brake, right? And so I'm like, well, that's not good. So I kind of let off the brakes a little bit in order to close the gap down between me and that box truck, right? So I'm letting this gap decrease. I'm trying to be nice so the motorcycle doesn't slam into me and slide across my truck bed. So I'm waiting, I'm getting closer to that box truck, and finally the motorcyclist like wakes up and slams on his brakes, right? And I was always on the brakes, so it's like my brake lights are always on. Box truck ahead of me, brake lights always on. Motorcyclist finally wakes up to the fact that we're all braking, slams on his brakes. I hear squealing, like ABS is going off, kind of like that chatter sound you get with the ABS. And so he comes right up to me. I mean, he takes every inch of braking he possibly has and almost slams into me. I mean, he's right in my rearview mirror, like, he's right there, you know what I mean? Like, he did not have a lot of margin left. And You know, then that car pulls off and turns. The box truck starts to speed up again. I start to speed up again. We're in the left lane, by the way. And we were passing people, right? It's not like we're just hogging the left lane. We were passing people. So the motorcyclist whips around us on the right and just looks over at me and shakes his head like I'm such an idiot. Like I'm a bad driver. Why would I slow down like that? And meanwhile, it's like, you apparently don't know this road. That's like, that happens, you know, fairly frequently whenever you get someone who has to turn. That's just the way it goes. And it sucks. I'm sorry. But, like, the rules of the road are the person in front of you brakes, you have to brake. Like, you can't just slam into the back of them and be like, yeah, you shouldn't turn. So, anyway, he's going past me, shaking his head, kind of shaking his head at the box truck, just like, I'm gonna go fast and shake my head because I'm an angry motorcyclist. Which, you know, feels a little bit unnecessary for, you know, I'm not saying I'm the hero in this story, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not the villain. Like, it's not my fault. I wasn't the one turning. All I did was stop so I didn't hit the box truck in front of me. Really not a lot of rocket science here. So, that's the basics of my story. Then he went around me and just, you know, went flying past as if, you know, speed was a good thing for that guy. I don't really feel like what he needed was more speed, but, you know, hey, do what you want to do. So, you guys tell me. You guys help me. Was I in the wrong? I don't really feel like it, but I think it's a good point when it's like, hey, just because you're on a motorcycle doesn't mean you're just perfect and you're right every single time. And that guy kind of had that attitude, like, oh, like, you know, I'm such a superior rider. Maybe he was mad. It's like, you shouldn't be in the left lane, which I agree. Like, box truck, you know, get out of the left lane. But we were passing, so it's like, you know, you're allowed to use the left lane if you're passing. So, you know, at least we were passing until the car turned off. Tell me what you guys think. I'm curious. Have you ever had experiences where you've almost had motorcyclists hit you, or you've crashed into them or something? I mean, I kind of felt bad, to be honest with you. Like, he made me feel bad, and I'm just like, I don't really feel like I should feel bad, but I'm definitely like, you know, it was a near miss. It was one of those things where it's like, man, it made me think twice about, like, riding and distractions and stuff like that, and even the roads I consider riding, because I was just like, man, he put himself in a bad situation, and, you know, it didn't have to be that bad, and thankfully it didn't end up badly, but it was just a little bit like, wow, you know what, you ever like be riding through the mountains, or, you know, tight turns, or on a track or whatever, and you run wide off, or like you come in too hot and you just like kind of panic, you're like, whoa, I didn't really expect, you know, the turn to be that sharp or anything like that, and you just kind of have that moment of reflection where you're like, wow, this could have ended so much worse. Like, I am incredibly grateful, right? And so I just feel like he sort of had this like entitled, privileged attitude instead of just like a gratitude attitude, where it's like, hey, like, if I had not been paying attention to my rearview mirror, if I was not into motorcycles and paying attention to you, like maybe someone else, and just had brake to maintain a gap, then it could have ended totally differently. Like, you could have been in the back of someone's car, and I'm sorry, but you rear end someone, it's your fault. It doesn't matter if you're on a motorcycle, it doesn't matter if you're an 18-wheeler. How much damage you do to them, it's still your fault. You know, those kind of situations really make you think. So, curious, let me know what you all think, and I will catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Ride safe, everyone.